Good evening, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, the Jones family, the owners that we have. Well, as far as we know, we don't think that they've actually bribed any of their coaches to lose. They just do it on their own. They just do it on their own without getting the money. I guess they didn't get the memo that you can get paid to lose games, I guess, if you're a coach in the Miami Dolphins organization. That whole thing just does not sit well with me at all. To hear that an owner is actually saying, we want you to lose and I'll pay you to do it, really actually gets my radar up and thinking about maybe some of this shit is actually rigged. Anyway, if it is rigged, the Cowboys haven't been doing their part to rig it for the fans. Stephen Jones did a lot of talking tonight, and he talked about how they thought that they had a great team, how they thought that this team had come together, how they thought that we were going to be going a lot further than that first round loss, and that they're very disappointed, and they owe it to us, the fans, to do better than what they've gotten. When we were sitting here watching the playoffs this past weekend, seeing that the Cincinnati Bengals now made it to the Super Bowl since the Cowboys have last been there. Another one of the doormats that used to be. The Kansas City Chiefs were one of those teams that 50 years since they had been to a Super Bowl. We saw the Giants, the Eagles, the Cardinals, Tampa Bay twice. We saw the Carolina Panthers twice. We saw Denver. We saw Green Bay. We saw the Bears. We see the Colts. The Titans. We have seen all but about 7 teams in the Super Bowl since the last time we were there. It sucks, man. It drives me freaking insane to know that. So Stephen Jones issues us an apology. Sorry. We have to do better. A couple other things that he went on there. He talked about if we lose Kellen Moore. He's interviewing in Miami. You know what? If you are a coaching candidate, you have to look at the Miami Dolphins job right now. If you believe the things that Brian Flores said, and say, that mother humper's crazy, that they are a dysfunctional franchise, that they literally wanted to pay the coach to lose, got mad when they didn't, and this year they come close to making the playoffs, they're winning and doing better, and you decide to fire them. That might be the kind of job that Kellen Moore gets, because if you're a great coach, you got a great, you know it's a dead end as long as you have that kind of an organization. So I don't know. But Stephen Jones said the great news is if we lose Kellen Moore, we have Mike McCarthy to call the plays, because he, of course, has done that on winning teams and teams that have won the Super Bowl in Dallas. Yeah, Mike McCarthy's won the Super Bowl in Dallas, just not with the Cowboys. So, at the moment, what that tells you is Kellen Moore is still employed by the Cowboys, and they don't plan on replacing him unless he gets a job elsewhere. That means he's coming back. I don't think he's going to be employed. But if you're saying we're in good hands with Mike McCarthy calling plays because he's done it with Super Bowl teams, then why are you doing it with the guy who doesn't have a playoff win? Pause. He also let us know that the salary cap is real. And this is where I've been talking all season. I've been saying that there's guys that you have to look at here on this roster. He says, we can't keep everybody, which is true. You can't. You can't keep Tyron Smith, La'el Collins, DeMarcus Lawrence, Zeke Elliott, Amari Cooper, and then turn around and say we're going to be able to pay Randy Gregory and Jaron Kearse and Brett Urban and Carlos Watkins and get some free agents, maybe for linebacker or as a left tackle or as a center, or get a guy like Keanu O'Neal or any of the other free agents, because we have 21 of them. You can restructure some contracts, but see, therein lies part of the problem. We keep restructuring contracts for guys who are at the end of their ropes. Hard decisions have to be made on some players. And unfortunately, we fall in love with guys and we think that we cannot make do without them. And because we do that, we can't go out there and really pick the people up because there's not money that can make a difference. You look at the Rams. The Rams said, you know what? Yeah, we spent a bunch of draft picks on a quarterback, but he's not the one. You've got to do whatever it takes to get the guy that makes a difference. And they've done that in all kinds of positions. Jalen Ramsey, Odell Beckham, Von Miller, Matthew Stafford. They find a way to get it done. They find a way to make them to get the money to pay them. They find a way to get the draft picks out there to do them, and they find a way to make sure they've got a full roster. You have to understand that we are great at drafting. We have more hits in the draft. I mean, the fact that you got Diggs, CeeDee Lamb last year, the fact that you got Micah Parsons and Goldston and OC and maybe Jabril Cox and Boss Man Fat, you got good prospects, but it's not always enough. And that's where they need to evolve a little bit and understand that sometimes there's addition by subtraction. Let me give you the perfect example of this. In 2013, our defense was terrible. Not as terrible as it was last year, but it was terrible. It rivaled that one. That year, Jason Hatcher had 11 sacks. Free agent, he goes to Washington and gets paid. DeMarcus Ware, after that season, we let him go. Cornerstone piece of the Dallas Cowboys for years. Sean Lee tore up his knee. First play in OTAs. Now you lose 3 of your starters, but not only starters, your 3 biggest players from the year before on a defense that was terrible. You don't expect to get better the next year, but better they did. They went from 31st on defense to 19th. Not a huge jump, but you lost your 3 key players, and you played better without them. And that's where we are right now. We're at that same kind of crossroads when you start looking at guys like Tyron Smith and La'el Collins and DeMarcus Lawrence. DeMarcus Lawrence is in the same position that we were with DeMarcus Ware. Marcus Ware, back-to-back seasons with only 6 sacks. Injuries mounting up. Big cap hit. He was $16 million at the time. Cowboys bit the bullet and said, we got to move on. And those kind of decisions are going to have to be made. The other thing that Stephen Jones talked about was Amari Cooper. About Amari Cooper, that he says when you pay a guy a lot of money like you did Amari Cooper, you expect him to be able to be that focal point. So you expect him to be the one going to Pro Bowl as opposed to your second-year player. And he's not blaming it all on Amari Cooper. He's blaming it on scheme and things like that. He's being collected. He's trying to say, I'm not blaming it all on Amari Cooper. But here's the reality is, paying him that kind of money, he's got to be a focal point. And whoever is not making the focal point is wrong. And so that's where we are. A lot of these things are kind of obvious. I've been preaching it for quite a while. That you can't sign 21 free agents and hold on to all the players that you have that are aging and think that you can make the roster better. And this is where the tough part of the season. But I truly believe the off seasons are what makes the champion. That's why I try and do as much as I can in the off season. And so, I actually recorded the first episode of it tonight. And it kind of drives me crazy because sometimes when you do YouTube and things, sometimes some of the rules are so ridiculous. There's a song by The Clash, which is like a punk rock band back in the 80s. And it was, should I stay or should I go? I don't know, okay? And I thought sampling just 7 freaking seconds of that would be perfect to start going through and evaluating the players that we have to figure out, should they stay or should they go? I was like, yeah. I got the first one already recorded, but since the stuff of Brian Flores came out, I'll wait till tomorrow. But it's on Randy Gregory. And so I want to start that section by playing that, should I stay or should I go? Oh man, come on! And then you go through the pros and the cons of keeping this person and how you can do it. So I'm going to be doing that with all of our free agents that we have, as well as high valued people. I just can't use that clip because when I did, bam, the YouTube police got me. So unless I record it myself, should I stay or should I go? I don't know. Should I stay or should I go? Okay. Anyway, that's what we're going to be doing. Whew. Another day in the books. And it's already freaking February. My life just seems like it's flying by now. But hopefully, God willing, I'll be here tomorrow and we'll premiere our first episode of Should I Stay or Should I Go? And I'll be working in the workshop. Damn it, why is it Eagle fans come at me? I got an Eagle fan that wants a cutting board for the Eagles. I got to do that shit. Oh well. I will catch you guys, God willing, tomorrow morning. Hope you have a great night. And I will see you soon. Unless I slip on this damn ice and bust my head on this concrete. That's possible.